including preseason All-Big Ten selection Thomas Bryant. Coach, we'll start with an opening statement, and then we'll go to questions.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, it's great to be in this area. Love this area for a lot of reasons. And the fact that the Big Ten is such a huge part of it now with the success that Maryland has had over the many years that made them such an attractive part of adding them to the Big Ten means that much more. It's a great area to visit, certainly a great area to recruit, and it's going to be a lot of fun to play the conference tournament here. And the success Maryland has had and is having, it continues to have a lot to do with things like that. I think Mark is one of the best coaches in the country, not only the Big Ten, but in the country. I think their team continues to get better and better with his leadership and the way that they play. And I think he's been a fantastic addition to this league. Before we get into our team, I'd like to welcome, on behalf of Indiana, to Steve Peichel to the Big Ten. We competed against him at Stony Brook, and outstanding coach. I mean, they made a great hire when they hired him, and his teams are tough, hard-nosed, competitive, don't beat themselves, and over a period of time, as he gets to put his stamp on that team, that will happen. And then one guy that I think that was in so many close games last year, so many games that could have gone either way, including two with us, is Richard Pitino. And I think he's on the cusp of getting that team to be where he wants it to be, playing the style of play that they want. And again, you need to have a great league. You've got to have everybody from top to bottom doing their very best. And I know a lot of people are talking about Richard's team, but there's a lot of us thinking about it. I know we are, in the realm of how much better they're getting. As far as us, we lost a lot of guys, obviously, that were very successful for us over a period of time. And we had a lot of injuries that we had to deal with this past summer. And we didn't play 5-on-5 as a group until our second or third practice, I think it was, here this year, because we'd had so many guys that were missing. So I hadn't seen our guys play 5-on-5 since the North Carolina game. But we've started to do more of that. And I think in our realm right now, we're trying to make sure that we're learning to compete and concentrate through fatigue, especially over the last couple of days, trying to make it a strenuous affair fatigue-wise, where they've got to learn to really not only concentrate for themselves, but build a responsibility for each other. Everybody asks about the leadership around our place and what we're going to do without Yogi. And I don't know if you replace a guy like Yogi and replace what we lost with Troy and or Troy Williams, Max Bielfeldt, and Nick Zeisloff with one guy. If there was one guy that was going to be that guy, it would probably be Colin Hartman because of his experience. But he has to do that from the sideline now. So, like, what we have to really get is responsibility for one another. And it sounds kind of trite and simple, but it's not. And the more you can do that for each other when you're tired and fatigued and take that responsibility to help each other get through things, then all of a sudden your leadership starts to take shape, because then you're making the game easier for each other. And if our team had one main strength last year, it was that they made the game easier for each other. And we got better defensively, and we made the game so much more simple for each other on offense because of the way the ball moved, and we've got to be able to do that. So we're trying to get those things accomplished right now. Defensively, we're trying to understand what level of ball pressure we can play. We haven't started to put our pressures in yet, but we want to pressure the ball in the half-court to three-quarter court area. We want to do a great job of protecting and supporting each other, and that's where the communication comes in. Because older teams have a hard time understanding how important it is to communicate with each other. Young teams really have no idea. And even though we have some experienced guys, they are now going to have to be those experienced guys in the realm of taking real control of the team for one another. So that, along with building a physical and mental toughness that we're going to need to play a fast-paced style of play and be a hard-nosed defensive team, is what we're after. And I love our team spirit. I love their energy. We're nowhere near healthy enough, which means we're not even close to having a real understanding of where we can be as a team, but it's a great team to be with every day. And we're trying to run our own race. And I think that's the most important thing that these guys can understand, is that you don't pick up from where you left off. You build on where you were at. And it's constantly a new challenge every day to get that understood. But we're definitely working at it. So go ahead.
Thank you, Coach. We're going to start on the left-hand side, 4 rows back.
Tom, Don Marcus from the Baltimore Sun. Can you talk about Thomas Bryant's decision to come back, and in terms of the maturity that showed, as well as the fact that he and guys like Melo Trimble and Swanigan are back in the league after flirting with, or those two flirting with the NBA?
Well, when it comes to running your own race, Thomas is a great example of that because he had to do what was absolutely going to be best for his long-term career. And I don't think he made a short-term decision. He made a long-term decision. And you can talk to him more in depth about it, but it really wasn't that hard of a decision for him. He's a very honest person and what he needs to get better at. He understands how far he's come, but I think he's one of those rare kids that really, really gets how much better he can get. And I think he's enjoying himself. He's a humble person. He's got a great level of energy. And he's still, he's very young. He just turned 19, 2 months ago. But bottom line is he's really got an old soul. He really does. He's great with his teammates and loves the gym and really, really wants to have a long-term career. And there's really no reason when he leaves Indiana that he shouldn't have an extremely long career at the next level.
I'm going to go same area, one row behind.
Terry Hutchins, CNHI Sports Indiana.
Terry.
Coach, you mentioned Yogi and replacing him from a leadership standpoint, but can you tell us how the first couple of weeks of finding a new point guard and how that competition's been going?
Well, it's not as much about that. To me, the point guard is going to be the guy that after the made basket gets the ball on the break and can make the best decisions, advance it with the dribble or the pass, can score at the rim, score in a pull-up situation, hit a three, get into a ball screen, those type of things. And then everything else has got to be free-flowing so that the decision-making process for us is really on that break. After missed baskets, it's really the majority of the guys that we have should be able to bust out with the ball. That's why we work so hard at developing their skills and treating the forwards just like the guards when we do our breakdown work. But we'll be a little different offense, and I think the most important thing is not to find that one or two guys that are just going to set it up and control the tempo, but have a team of guys that understand how to make the game easier. Again, it's building skill. Juwan Morgan at the end of the year when Rob Johnson was hurt was our backup point guard, and it's as a 6'8" freshman. Now, he's not been healthy enough to do anything of live contact yet. We're probably week to 2 weeks away from that. But really with the three juniors that we have in Josh Newkirk, James Blackman, Rob Johnson, with the two freshmen we have in Curtis Jones, Devontae Green, it's a matter of the ball moving and having them really make the reads and decisions for one another that are so important, build confidence in their own games before we start having them really. We've put very few plays in. We've put very, very little offense in other than concepts, and spent much more time on defense this year and getting that acclimated with the commitment level you have to the talk and to the help. So that's going to take some time for us, but I haven't been displeased with anybody. Everybody's had certain days where they've been really good, and no one's had a day where they've not been good.
We've got time for one more question. Let's go left-hand side.
Dylan Sin from Peegs.com.
Hi.
I was wondering, you have Kansas and North Carolina in your schedule in the first few weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's going to tell you about your team and how that's going to prepare you for the Big Ten season?
That's very poor scheduling. I mean, there's no question about that, especially the Kansas game. But no, in all honesty, that's something everybody's looking forward to. And then you throw in what we have in December with Louisville and Butler. And I mean, our non-conference schedule is going to be ridiculously challenging for this team. But that's okay because so is the league. And the more experiences that we can get, we're going to go against one of the hardest-nosed, toughest-minded, best-coached teams in the country right off the bat in Hawaii. And really what it does is it just kind of increases your urgency a little bit in the non-season, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't reference one of those two teams at least 4 or 5 times in something that we're doing. We haven't started to prepare for them per se yet, but it'll be a great challenge for us, and physicality-wise, mental toughness-wise, we've got to do a lot in a short period of time to get ready for games like that.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck
Thank you.
this season.
Thank you.